So, I'm thinking about changing the pickups in this guitar. There's nothing wrong with the ones here. This is dead stock. This was a limited edition Strandberg Sälen they came up with last year. It is Swamp Ash Maple, Wingay, and these are Sir Thornbuckers. A Thornbucker Plus in the bridge and a normal Thornbucker in the neck with 5-way switching. The middle 3 are all splits of various types. I'll get back to that in a second. And here's my issue with it. I feel like, especially the neck pickup and the splits, but just in general, I feel like it's lacking a bit of bass. Before you say, "Oh, it's a tiny guitar," blah, 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 that's not it. I have a Prog as well, and it doesn't have that problem because it has slightly higher output pickups. I just don't think that necessarily these pickups, which are objectively good pickups, really match what I want out of this guitar, which is, it's my do anything guitar. This is my guitar I grab if I don't know what I'm going to be playing. So I'm going to do a few demos of the neck pickup and just run through the 5 settings. I have one other complaint, by the way, is that the splits drop the volume too much. I also wish that the middle position was both pickups together rather than outside coils. So it goes neck pickup, neck single, so it's just the outside coil, outside coils of the 2, inside coils of the 2, and then bridge pickup, all in parallel. There's no series settings other than obviously the humbuckers. And the humbucker bridge is going to sound really harsh with my settings, but that's just the nature of playing through a twin. I'm just, call me crazy, I just don't love these pickups. I'm thinking about replacing them. That's all I really have to say. After I do that, I'm going to compare it. I want to just for a reference, I'm going to compare it to my 335, which is not what, I'm not trying to get them to sound identical or anything. It's just like to give you an idea of how much more heft some pickups have. And it's not as much of a apples and oranges as you might think. There's very similar pickups. Yes, that's a shorter scale length, but it's like there shouldn't be this big of a difference, and I may just be crazy. Anyway, here's a demo. There's that volume drop. It just drives me a little nuts. It's more than on my other guitars with splits. And the SSC in my Prog doesn't do it. It has a volume drop. This is like 9 dB, while the other ones are all like 3 dB, maybe 6. It's just a little too much. Anyway, here's the and I'll do the other ones, the middle positions. Inside coils. So now let's compare that to the 335. Just neck pickup, and then I'll come back to this, and then I'll tell you what my settings were. So this is an early 80s 335 shop dot. It was a these are Rio Grandes, a Buffalo Bucker in the neck, genuine Texas in the bridge. Kind of similar, they're the same specs, except they're Alnico 5s rather than Alnico 4s, as the Thornbuckers, but these are evenly wound coils rather than unevenly wound coils, and obviously it's in a darker guitar, but these are all the same pot. My pot specs are all pretty close. I measure them. They're all a little over 500K. So this shouldn't be apples to oranges. I just wanted to give you an idea of how much thicker sounding this Gibson is. And my Epi Explorer and also the Prague and others are thicker sounding. There's just something about these Thornbuckers I find a little thin. Anyway, here's the Gibson. That was the bridge pickup. So yeah, it just sounds a lot thicker. Like, listen to those single note lines. Like, it doesn't have that snappy punch. That's probably from the bolt-on maple neck and just the deconstruction. It's like, I don't mind the glassiness of the other one. This one's not going to be as glassy, but what I'm lacking is that low end. There's that thickness. It's not so much that that's too bright, is that it's lacking low end. I don't mind the brightness. It's just lacking low end. I actually find this one to be a little too fat sounding sometimes. Anyway, I'll just play a little bit more on the 335, and then I'll go through my FM9 settings. And here's the bridge pickup just for comparison. In music, this bridge pickup's a little lower output than the Thornbucker Plus, but on paper they should be about the same, but I don't know why. And by the way, height settings, everything, I've fucked with everything on everything. This one, they're almost identical in terms of height settings. This one actually is a little closer to the strings. Back over for one last time. On the bridge pickup. Not so much that it's bright. I don't mind that it's bright. And a little harsh is okay into the twin settings. But it just lacks low end. It's like... And anyway, I'm not a believer in tone wood making that huge of a difference, but if anything's going to do it, it's going to be the neck wood, and that may be the biggest difference between them, other than scale length, is the maple, carbon fiber reinforced maple neck. Anyway, here's my settings. I'm using an FM9 in the room. I've got a Laney FR212. vertical 212 that I'm using for monitoring. None of this other stuff is on. It's all that's on here is a double verb vibrato, which is the vibrato channel of a Blackface Twin. You can see how I have it set, 2.6 bass, so it's 3.8 gain, so that's like right before edge of breakup on a Twin. And then 2.6, 3.5, 3.5 basically. That's how I would set a physical Twin as well. Bright switch on with the humbuckers, though that's also why some of those tinky settings get down a little thin. And then on a, I don't think I've messed with anything deep. I may have the output compressor on, but with clean settings like this, it probably isn't doing anything. I'd have to go and check, and I don't want to do that. The cab is a Dynacab, the double verb, with a condenser and a ribbon. Just dead stock. I haven't even turned on the high and low cuts. It's just the regular old double verb stock, not even panned, just dead mono. And then I've got a Lush Spring reverb. There are other, I just happen to like this one. Mixes like 10%. I'd probably drop the dwell and everything a little bit, but it's not an extreme reverb by any means. And that's it. The reason there for two outputs is one goes to my cab and the other goes to the computer. That's it. So what do you think? Should I change these pickups? I'm thinking, like I said, I'm thinking bare nickel. They're relatively easy to get here in Europe. I don't really want another PAF style that's on the brighter side, because I think it's just a side grade. So like no poly PAFs. I'm thinking maybe I could even just go with the SIRS, but go with like the SSV neck, SSH or SSV plus for bridge. I don't really like Duncans as a general rule. I find them a little hunky. There's some DiMarzios I like. There are lots of options. Though I'm leaning towards the bare knuckle polymaths, not polypaths, because they're pretty similar to the SSH plus SSV. They're easier to get here in Europe. I can get them in raw nickel covers. I want to keep the covers because I like the way they look. Yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you think.